Beep.
Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourselves in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This afternoon scene will take place in the Dublin Botanical Gardens, which are located just outside Finglas, on one corner edge of the city, as Finlay Weiss makes his way through the centre of this verdant green haven towards a large, gnarled oak tree that stands at the very heart of the gardens, a vast expanse of green that overlooks the vast expanse of green and brown that overlooks everything, standing quiet sentinel as it must have done for centuries hither on to the past.
Finley's going to look around, make sure that there's no one observing, at least not that he can see. And if he's in the clear, he'll enter the tree through the that large gnarl slash gap that seems to appear.
Mm-hmm. As you get closer, it will basically you will hear a sound that sounds like wood snapping and sundering, as indeed a large section of the tree does fold in upon itself, creating an archway that you can just about squeeze into if you duck your head down.
Which he will do.
Okay. You will feel like you are falling for a few moments before your feet will hit solid ground, and you will be immediately assaulted by the
whatever it was, it assaulted me so hard. There you are.
where where literally any flower created by the hand of the divine or the hand of man can bloom, neath a sun that seems to be trapped eternally within the bubble, beyond which you see the night sky stretching on into an expanse that seems to go forever. There are many flora and many fauna, many different wild plants grow. You are surrounded by trees who echo an era long since forgotten, whilst in the center stands the verdant, life-giving world tree of this place. Taller than a skyscraper, it looks down at you, seemingly benevolently with its own eyes. If a tree could have eyes.
He's only been here once before, so he's still heavily taken aback. But he, after a few moments of enjoying the scenery and, making sure he doesn't have anything loose on his person that would leave, anything behind, he proceeds forth to try and find the warden.
Do you want to roll me a perception survival?
Yay! I have one of those, I think.
Hooray!
Let me see. Yep, survival's a 0. Perception is a 3. Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. This character is decent perception.
You have to roll untrained, which means you're rolling a difficulty 7.
Yep, it's +1 diff. Let me get into the rolls chat. Our 3d10. I'll burn a willpower. This character's been off his feet for a while. So 7F1, burning 1 willpower, 2 successes.
All right, you do not get irreversibly lost. Hooray!
This time.
You will eventually find your way to... It's actually quite alien. You're walking along through the verdant forests and flower banks that exist within Calhia. Until your feet, you suddenly realize that there's a clacking, clicking sound coming from under your feet. You look down to see the fact that, I'm walking on a path. That is unusual. You have yet to see a path in Calhia until you find one that just seems to start from nowhere, made of white polished stone.
You'll follow it.
You will eventually wend and twist your way throughout this forest, which you see many birds look down at you. They all appear to have enjoyment in their eyes. There is nothing ill in Calhia. Yes, there is death. However, there is also the cycle of rebirth. So it is that nothing truly dies in the way that it was thought of in the world of old. You will eventually come, Finlay, however, to something that looks odd to be here. You come across what looks like almost a small Roman Catholic style chapel built of the same white polished stone. the doors are closed. And they depict an individual kneeling at prayer with a crown on their head and another figure standing over them with their hand on the crown, a very obviously female persona who's dressed in a long flowing dress.
Out of curiosity, this is the only path leading to this place, right? There aren't like other paths leading away from it.
Correct. And as you turn around, you see the fact that the path is gone.
Yay. He's going to look at the door, look around, be like, well, I was led here. Presumably, this is where I'm supposed to be. You know, this is a sanctuary of some kind. So he just heads up and knocks on the door.
The door will slide open as you knock. Literally, the force of your knocking, opening it.
He'll clear his throat. You know, hello.
No answer comes from within.
He's going to try. There weren't any rules about using magic in here, right? That's not part of the 3 rules.
Correct.
He's going to attempt to sense nearby life energy, which obviously there's going to be tons in the forest, but he's specifically trying to find some inside the house.
It's not a house, as I say, it's more of a small chapel. But yes, you can do that.
Okay. It's going to be, let's see, 2 dice, diff 3, I'm assuming, coincidental, and this is a Horizon realm anyways.
Diff 3.
Failure. Wait, how did I? Oh yeah, failure. Okay. For a second, I thought it gave me a 0. I was like, how do I roll a 0? Exactly. So nothing happens. Attempt fizzles. Tries to calm himself and try again if there's no sign of anyone noticing from inside the chapel.
No one.
2 successes.
You are very correct. You are surrounded by incredibly verdant amounts of life, both flora and fauna. You sense a precocious amount of animals that appear to be watching you, but from inside the building itself, no, there is no life. There's no one inside. There's not even an animal or plant has strayed inside this place.
He's going to look around. The birds are still watching him, right?
Yes.
He's going to look up at them, kind of gets a theory. I am looking for the warden. Am I meant to come here, or am I just talking to random birds? Kind of trails off there.
The birds do not reply or move.
They just continue watching and judging.
Correct. Judgmental birds are judgmental.
But if one of them is Biscuit, I'm doomed. No, I'm just kidding.
Biscuit secretly rules Calhaya. What are you talking about?
Anyways, he'll step inside then. Now, since there's no response from the birds, he's mentioned the warden's name, and the path seemed to manifest and lead him here. Presumably, someone here wants him to be in this chapel. So he'll step inside and look around.
As you enter the chapel, you will notice the fact that there are 13 stained glass windows inside here. There are 6 along each wall, and a 13th along the wall on the wall that you face immediately when you enter. Each one of the 12 is occupied by a.
Each one of the 12, when you get back, you cut out for a second. Evan disconnected momentarily. He'll be back. Welcome back. I got to each of the 12, and then you deep.
Oh, each of the 12 is dressed either in armor or a tabard.
Huh. So they're depictions of individuals.
Yes, each one is a different person.
Anything? Are they all completely different, or?
They're all different people, as in there is no double picture. There is no picture of two of the same person twice.
Okay.
The writing underneath them, as all of them have writing, is written in a script you really don't understand.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You assume that it's their name because it's not uncommon in stained glass portraiture to have the name of the given individual, like saint, etc., underneath the depiction of them. And then once again, you see. And then once again, at the end, you see another image of the crowned figure, this time with a person standing to his right-hand side, who has a cloak over who has a purple cloak over their features and has a staff held in one hand.
Mm-hmm.
Beneath that picture, you see two angelic figures, though they do not possess wings. They're just incredibly beautiful. Sorry, you see three. My apologies. Three incredibly beautiful women carved into the rock, each of whom has a urn of water in their hands that is flowing out into small aqueducts, basically, that are pooling in a central pool underneath the watchful eyes of the largest of the stained glass windows in the center of the room. There is a small pond, basically, of perfectly clear water. In the center of the pond, in a circle of stone at the center of the pond, you see something glinting and glimmering, but you're a little bit too far away to see what it is, and it's up a set of stairs. You just see something glinting.
So there's no signs of anyone in here. I didn't sense any life in here anyways. He's going to take his time and actually, look at each one of the various stained glass windows, all the dozen different people. Is there anything that makes these dozen, do they have anything in common? Like are they all, like, for example, they're all wearing knightly regalia or something like that?
Yes. Well, they're all wearing what would be considered upper class clothing for the time, in the sense that they all have different heraldries that are stitched either into their armor or into their tabards or emblazoned on shields that they're holding. So each one of them is different. They all have a noble bearing. And they are all very much different people. Some of them smile down at you. Some of them look incredibly stern. At least one of them looks quite mischievous. They all have a different look to them, if that makes sense.
And the final one is the one that's in the center against the back wall.
Yes, and that's the only one that contains two people.
Gotcha. And let's see. And you said there's that central font, which has something in it, but I'd have to go up a flight of stairs, or a few steps anyways, to get a look at what's inside it.
Correct.
He'll walk up the steps, but he's fully intent on not touching anything in here other than stepping on the steps. He doesn't want to, yeah. Anyways.
Laying on the central the central stone island, essentially in the center of the lake, you will see a beautiful sword with golden inlay and a large ruby gem set into the pommel. Coincidentally, it is the same sword you saw in your dream.
Just gonna look around. None of the figures in any of the painting, in any of the stained glass windows have this weapon, do they?
They do not. In fact, no one has the sword in the paintings, or in the renderings, rather.
Now, just to clarify, because my mind's playing tricks on me here. There's not like coffins or sarcophagi or anything in here. It's literally just there's the 12 representative stained glass windows, 6 on either side, and the one in the back. There's no visible resting places for the dead or anything like that here.
Correct. There's just the sword sitting in its tiny island in the center of the crystal clear water.
Is it elevated above the water, or is it in the water?
It's elevated above the water on the little island.
Oh, good. I was going to say, like, no rust for this weapon. Okay. I'm going to use Prime Sight and look at the weapon.
Oh boy.
Actually, I'm kind of curious if anything else in here is prime site. Like, I might have tripped a couple wards walking in here.
Okay.
Same diff as before, I'm assuming, because it's just basic sensory shit.
Yes.
2 successes. I'm blind!
Kind of. No. It glows incredibly brightly with a very benevolent and beneficent light, if that makes sense. It glows with a power and a majesty that is almost impossible to look at without feeling pride and without feeling a source of camaraderie. You feel a sense of comradeship with the sword, if that makes sense. Also, very interestingly, you've met the changelings, haven't you?
Yes, I have on multiple occasions.
It feels somewhat like they do.
Oh, now that's creepy. But like you said, this sword appears more benevolent. It's not like, you know. And he's going to switch to. I'm going to use 2 other senses at this point. I mean, I could just say, since apparently I completely misunderstand the mechanics of mage, could I just say I activate, like, I start cycling through senses and just roll the same difficulty, or do I have to roll separately for every single one, or how does it work?
In theory, you can activate more than one in a single go, but bear in mind that after you activate more than 2 effects on yourself at any given time, it increases the diff by a cumulative +1.
Okay, so in that case, he's just cycling between them for right now. Okay, so he's looked at it through Prime. While he's got Prime up for, I guess, that round. Well, it's 2 successes, so that'd be for the scene, I guess. He's going to.
You also have Prime up. Holy shit! There's something really that water. You don't know what it is, but the enchantment woven into it is so complex. It's nearly painful in the sense that it would take you weeks to pick it apart to discern what it does.
Well, I got a project now. But are there any other, while he's got Prime Sight up, before I dismiss it, he's going to look around. Are there any traces of wards, anything else he might have stepped over, anything on the area, the stained glass windows?
Other than in the water surrounding the sword, no, there's nothing else.
Okay. I'm switching to Mind and Spirit Sight. Two successes.
Okay. What are you looking at exactly?
Starting with the sword. Is it sentient?
Yes, in the sense that it has a mind.
Does it have a soul?
Yes. In as far as you would understand a soul, it possesses something akin to it.
While he's got this up, he's going to look directly at it and say, did you want me to come here? And he now, with Mind 1, all I can do is basically empath. I can sense emotions. I cannot communicate with it through the magic. He's just addressing it and trying to detect if there's a change in it, like a vibration or anything.
Nothing happened.
Okay.
However, with Spirit Sight, every single one of those stained glass windows has a soul in it.
And they are aware of me? Is there any sense of that, or?
They're looking at you.
He's going to look at each one of them.
With the noted exception of the two in the main one that's directly ahead of you.
They're ignoring me completely. Oh, or they have no souls in them.
They have no souls in them.
They're just stained glass paintings. And there was nothing magical about them.
No.
Okay. He's going to look at the 12 stained glass painting, or 12 stained glass windows, and just he looks at them. He's like, I may be telling you something you already know, but I had a dream about this sword. I came here looking for the warden, though. I get the feeling I may be intruding. But the path led me.
One of them who looks like the youngest, who actually has a lamb as his heraldry, he's also the closest to you. He's the one that's immediately to your right hand side. Will shake his head when you say am I intruding?
Oh, okay. So now the stained glass pictures are moving. Magic.
Well, no. The actual stained glass themselves stays the same. Its spirit shakes its head.
Oh, okay. So I'm basically seeing an overlay.
Yes.
Like there's a spiritual version of each one of these guys, and they're more, active.
Correct.
Okay. He'll continue looking at them and say, well, thank you for allowing me to come look at it. He looks at the sword because the camaraderie, Finley can be kind of a lonely individual. He gets kind of a hint of regret in his voice, but he says, I get the feeling I'm not here to take this. I get the distinct impression that's not what I'm here for.
The man will smile and he'll nod his head.
Okay, that's almost a relief. This is very powerful magic. I'm still new to this. Am I here just to witness? Or like he seems confused. Like he came here, he didn't look for this place. It drew him here. He's looked around, he's seen all this useful, interesting stuff, but he doesn't know why.
I dropped that. Am I here?
What he said was, "Am I here as a witness?" Essentially, like, what is his? He's trying to figure out why he was drawn to this place.
The figure will shrug. He seems genuinely not to know. Coincidentally, you know that rank 2 spirit that you have spirit speech, right?
Yes, and I haven't rolled it actually, so I should probably do that. Okay, thank you for the reminder. Common sense kicking in, yay! That would be diff 4 then.
Yes.
Rolling it, and I'm burning my second willpower. 3 successes. So that's up for the scene.
It is.
He's going to address the one that shook his head and say, that's slightly better. My name is Finley Weiss. May I know yours?
He'll contemplate for a moment and he'll say, do you not already know, or can you not hazard a guess?
Does the shepherd look familiar at all? Or, not shepherd, but, the guy whose heraldry is the lamb.
Not overly. However, I'm wondering if Solon has put the 2s and 2 together.
Solon has not, because Solon in real life has Enigma 0 with a lot of this stuff.
That's
fair. He's as much as he's used to playing the protagonist in games and such, he's not used to thinking of himself as that, and he feels that's hubristic to imagine that he has any central part to play in this. Even though he had that dream, and he doesn't know that anyone else may or may not have had that dream. While he's got spirit sight up and everything else, he can see his own. You can see your own spirit with spirit sight, right?
I believe so, yes.
Is there any similarity between my spirit and the spirits that are here, other than presumably human?
Not really. They're all human spirits. Not really.
Okay. I'm afraid I don't know. I may be a little underprepared for this.
One of the other figures will speak. He's a much broader man than the first, and he has a boar as his heraldry. This one is armored, whereas the other one is dressed in a tunic, and he will say, so, you come into our presence unaware. Interesting. And you claim as if it is destiny, fate, that bound you here.
I To explain it simply, I had a dream. Unrelated to that dream, I sought the warden of this place, and the path set me to this direction. I followed the path. It led me here.
So you were merely the victim of Providence.
Perhaps. I honestly do not know if there's anything at work, but let me think. He's going to I'm going to try throwing up 2 additional senses momentarily without disrupting what I've already got going with spot. I mean, I can drop the mind sight. So yeah, I'll just drop mind sight, momentarily activating entropy and time to try and see if there's anything at all fateful or entropic about this situation. Like, is this a momentous occasion? Because I think you can determine that shit with entropy 1.
Yeah, you can determine if fate has conspired in a given way.
2 successes.
Yes. In a manner of speaking, it is.
Okay, fate has some part to play in this.
It is not important. It is not important because you are here. It is important because you and the sword are here together.
Huh. And yet they said very clearly, I'm not supposed to take the sword today.
Yes, but you've seen it.
Well, he did ask if he was here to be a witness to this, to any of this stuff, not to the sword specifically, but okay. All right, so after kind of like visually, by the way, when he activates these senses, it's very simple. Like he's murmuring, basically words that are just foci for himself. Essentially, they have no actual meaning; they're gibberish, and kind of like making a rotating motion with his hand, like telling, like when you tell someone to move on, and he's doing that every time he switches a sense. So he's just like checking this, checking that. Once he finishes checking entropy and time, he just looks at the sword again. From what I can tell, I was meant to come here and see the sword. Beyond that, I do not know my purpose here.
The figure with the lamb will say, "Has he satisfied you now, Kay? Come now. He is our guest. Have you forgotten chivalry, as well as forgotten your tongue?" The other will kind of grumble where he stands, and he says, "Indeed, but then again, you always tried to please people, and we saw where that got us in the end. Well, what can I say? I've always liked people, and we get so few visitors here. But then again, if you wish to use your arrogance and your bullheadedness, we shall just, end this conversation now and delve to nothingness and all and everything." Of course you would say that. Yes, of course I would. It sounds almost like an argument that has gone on for an incredibly long period of time is just continuing, if you get me.
Yep. Are any of the other figures, I assume, just watching and keeping their mouths shut for now?
Some of the other figures look genuinely amused. Some of them don't look like they give a shit. That's the best way for me to describe it.
Now, this is addressed to Evan because I don't know how much of this has been thoroughly written up. I don't want to put you on a spot, but at some point, could I get a list of like just more information, like visually, what I see about these people, like what their stained glass paintings, their visual figures look like? Doesn't have to be now because I don't want to have to go like, oh god, I got to come up with 12 NPCs now.
Oh, I know all of their names.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I know their names because I can't read the text underneath, but just like maybe there's Kay, who you said his heraldry is the boar. So I'm writing down their heraldry as their identifier for this. The boar, Kay, and what's the shepherd's heraldry again? We'll just call him the shepherd.
It's a lamb.
Okay, the lamb. Thank you. I keep getting that mixed. And Kay did not refer to him by name. So, what are some of the other heraldries?
Some of the other heraldries, to give you an example, there is 3 sprigs of holly. that are kept together on the center of the shield. There is also a rearing, roaring red dragon as another one. There is a silver stag as another one. There is a, how would I best describe it? There is a black serpent coiled around a blade as another one.
Ooh, what's that guy look like?
He looks sinister.
Lovely.
There is some kind of eagle or large bird of prey that has its wings outfurled. It could be a hawk or it could be an eagle. There is the full moon on one of them, and that one is represented by far the most handsome of them all.
Okay, we're up to 8, by the way. So, ooh.
That's a lot of ones I have. Those are just the ones I have.
That's awesome. Okay, so I got all that written down. He'll look between them, and once they, I assume they do stop the banter after a minute or so.
Yeah, they shut up.
He'll just look at them again. Well, thank you for allowing me to come here, or, I'm not sure how much of a hand you had in my arrival, but should I take it that usually when someone comes here, they know what they're arriving for?
In all honesty, friend, stranger, your name was what again? The shepherd says.
Finley Weiss.
Most people do not come here, Mr. Weiss. Oh, sorry, most people do not come here, Sir Weiss.
Then let me phrase it another way. How many visitors have you had over, say, the last couple years?
You were the first in a very long time.
Oh, dear.
This place is a place that can only be found by those who are meant to find it.
Okay. Who is the sword meant for, or is the sword meant to stay here indefinitely?
The sword is meant to stay here until such time as it is brought from this place. Thus a burden can be placed from the shoulders.
Are you all here to safeguard it?
We are its companions.
Oh.
As we are the companions of the one who will wield it again one day.
Was there a spirit link between them and the sword?
No, not necessarily. No.
And no mind link or anything else. Okay, entropy. Since I had entropy and time up, are they fate bound to the sword in any way? Like connected?
Oh, very much so.
Okay. Okay, that makes more sense then. So the sword eventually is meant to be brought forth from this place.
I cannot answer. However, may I pose you a question?
Certainly.
What are the rules of this place? This Kalhaya?
OOC, I believe, because the character probably paid a hell of a lot more attention than me. OOC, I think they were do not bring anything here that does not leave with you. Don't leave any trash or crap behind. Recite that one.
No, it is you must bring with you all that you take in, essentially.
Exactly.
So, okay, continue on.
Yeah, that one I get. Basically, it boils down to don't leave shit behind. Clean up after yourself. Rule number 2, not to tell anyone who is not of the Verbena about this place. So that makes this place very secret and secure. And thirdly, not to. I believe the third was not to ask the warden questions about his past.
All three of those are the 3 rules of Kalhaya, correct?
Okay, he'll recite those.
He'll nod and he will say, "And what does that teach us?"
That this place, well, one, that this place is considered sacrosanct, which means that this place is extremely well protected and secure. For another, that there's a connection there, which OC I should probably be getting. The only thing I can think of is that the warden probably has something to do with this place, but I can't ask the warden about it because he's not allowed to answer. Oh, so they're not allowed to answer either. Is that part
Correct.
of it also? I gotcha. Okay.
He will say, "But what are each one of us? And more importantly, what is that sword as it relates to the rules?"
See, that gets more complicated. Shit. You can't do untrained enigmas rolls, can you? Shit.
You really can't. Okay, Evan is not a dick, so I will help if you need help puzzling it through. Basically, tell me your thought process.
The thought process I've got right now, like I'm spitballing concepts here, is that this sword is probably in some way, if it feels like this sword is currently at rest. Like this is a place for it to remain until it is, I guess, needed again, or someone worthy of using it is brought forth, or something like that. That's the gut instinct I've got here. But as far as details, neither I or my character have any idea why they had the dream and were allowed to come here. When it's been very clearly spelled out, they're not supposed to take it, or at least not now. These spirits are also resting here. They're bound to the blade. The question is there a connection between the blade and the warden? There could be, because the figures in the back, on the back to the back stained glass window. Could that guy be the warden, by the way? Is there any physical resemblance?
Bear in mind, the warden never shows his face. He always has a hood that you can't see under. It's essentially blackness under his hood. In theory, the robed figure could be the warden.
I thought that was female. Well,
No, the 3 statues that are pouring water are female. The 2 figures standing in the portrait are a king, apparently seated with a crown on his head, and standing off to his right-hand side, a figure dressed in purple with a hood up and a staff in their hand.
And you said this sword feels... Okay, you said the sword has something of the Fae about it.
I did.
Do the spirits have... No, you said the spirits are human. They're human, very distinctly.
Very much so.
Okay. Well, that's my thought process currently. I'm trying to find a lead at this point. I get I can't ask the warden about this, and I'm supposed to puzzle this out for myself. That portion I get. Character feels like crap.
I will also point out something that is very obvious to you.
Okay.
This building is alien to Kalhaya in the sense that it was clearly built.
Which nothing else in this place is anything other than purely natural. Yeah, that part, that I gathered, and the path itself was artificial and yet vanished as soon as it, brought me here. He's still in Kalhaya, though, right? Like the spirit resonance and everything else is the same?
Oh, yes, very much. You're still here.
Okay, I didn't switch Horizon Realms or anything crazy like that. How long has this sword remained here, or are you not allowed to tell me that?
Time moves differently here. It's been here since it was... And he'll stop mid-sentence.
Since it was well, you can't answer. So, you could have meant since it was created, but that would go against the dream I saw. The dream could have been metaphor. Um, hmm.
Evan's going to be really cool here, and he's going to throw Solon a prompt.
Because Solon is dumb. I accept this.
You're just not good at puzzles. This is a puzzle, which is fair. If we assume what happens in the event that what he was going to say was, since it was brought here?
That just tells me it's been here since it was brought here.
What can you not do in Kalhaya?
You can't talk about... Oh! There we go. Okay.
You cannot leave something behind.
Which would tell me that it's of this place.
No. There's another way to look at
it. So, see, the logic that he's following right now is if you can't leave something behind, that means that you must still be here, which means this is probably belonging to, since the only person I know to stay here is the warden, this is probably the warden's blade. Or at least he said it here.
Or he is safeguarding it.
Yes. And of course, I'd have to figure out for myself who and what it's being safeguarded for. Clearly he's not walking around with it or anything. Okay. Well, he's okay. So now he's figured that much out with significant prompting. He'll just, like, because he realizes he's being really slow about this also. He just kind of raises a hand and says, I apologize if I seem dense. I'm not unintelligent. I'm simply not used to... how to phrase it. And this is a little outside my bailiwick.
The figure will nod and he'll say, we all have our paths to follow, Sir Weiss.
He kind of looks at him askance at the title. I don't believe I've been knighted, actually. Or was that simply an honorific? If so, thank you.
Only someone of true nobility who possessed it within their heart, locks deep away, even so, could find their place here to the sanctum St. Julian, to that place. So, one way or the other, whether the sword has touched your shoulders or not, within your heart beats the blood of a knight.
That's definitely... Again, I thank you for complimenting me, but it sounds like you're stating something that you know to be fact, so thank you anyways.
Will you stop this hyperbole, Galahad, before we all shrivel up and fade? To which the knight with the lamb crest will kind of smile and he'll say, honestly, Sir Mordred, your attempts to break others down, tisk tisk tisk.
Is there any sort of nameplate or anything either on the sword, the blade, or anything else? Because I did get the K reference, but I didn't want to make any assumptions.
There is none. You can ask them.
Are you allowed to tell me the name of the sword?
Now he will smile and he'll say, you already know its name, though you don't necessarily know it belongs to it.
Okay, now this may get a little flavor heavy. I don't know if Evan would approve of this, but while looking, since I've still got entropy and I've got spirit, entropy, and time sight up, I'd like to think that if you say something's name, you could argue there is a very faint response in something.
I will accept this principle.
He's going to try it. And he's gonna say, and he's gonna feel really nerdy and like a failure if he fails this. Excalibur?
Shimmer, 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 shimmer.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Um. Oh. Oh. Crap. He's going to just kind of look at everyone, just be like, where I come from, the appropriate phrase right now is, I already know I'm not allowed to tell anyone about this clearly, but if I did, I'd have to kill myself. This is so far above my pay grade. He's just going to point at the two figures in the back who don't have spirits attached. He points to the robed figure and is like, "I think I know that one's name now, but I'm not."
Bear in mind when you met the warden, his exact wording was, "You know my name, but you do not know I belong to it."
Yeah, I don't think there's many people of the craft who don't know that one's name. He's going to just kind of blank and be like, that does leave me with a question, though. This may be a little philosophical for you folks, but you don't... I've talked to a lot of people who discuss reincarnation as if it's a very real thing. You all have, quote-unquote, stayed outside the wheel. You have not returned to be reborn at any point. You've been here since your demise.
Yes, that would be a correct statement.
And that would also make me wonder, the two in the back, one of them I can understand why they're not lodged there because they're out and about. But he points towards the figure with the crown on his head. If he's dead also, why is he not here?
We await his return. He has merely not stepped back to us yet.
Do you think he reincarnated then?
It is difficult to say. Maybe he has, and maybe he has lived a dozen lifetimes or more, but has had no need of us. But the time will come when the world will need him again, and so it is. Here we stand vigil, until such time as that day occurs.
And this is his sword. And this is his sword.
There's a nod.
Okay. That's a relief. Okay. This has been very educational. Is there anything formal I'm supposed to do other than be here, witness, learn, and reflect? Like he's clearly like he still doesn't understand. Like he gets the backdrop now, but he still doesn't get where he factors into this. He was meant to come here and learn about it. Okay, was he just meant to learn about it and that was it, or is he supposed to do something now that he knows it? If that makes any sense.
By the way, you still have your entropy site up, don't you?
Yes, entropy, time, and spirit.
You see a tendril reach out from the sword and connect itself just over your heart with your entropy site.
Like does it stay there or is it?
Yes, as in a link has formed.
Oh dear. He's just going to kind of look at the spirits and look at the sword, look at the tendril, look at it, look at himself.
They all have a very similar thing that links them to it.
Huh. Interesting. Now this might sound like a weird question, but is the water, I'm guessing, if I understand, my gut instinct is the water is some kind of super complicated selection slash protective ward around the sword to stop stupid people from trying to grab it.
The thing that I will give you is, as I said, it's incredibly complicated.
Yeah, exactly. It's not simply a you touch me, I die.
Well, no, you get if you are correct, you get the distinct impression that what will happen is if some ridiculously complicated and convoluted either ritual or procedure is not taken into account, you will be erased from history if you attempt to grab it. It will essentially burn you out of fate.
Yep. Purgation is a thing.
I will tell you right now, because I have his canonical stats. What are they called again? The mages who opt to return from Ascension because of poop.
They're not oracles, I don't think.
No, I think they are. I think.
Maybe. I don't have Masters of the Art open, and it would take me time to research that.
This is Erete 9 or 10 sphere magic.
They're the ones who turn back, exactly. They're like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and try and help people, successfully get to Ascension.
But yes, it is redonkulous magic.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm now tied to this sword. He's just going to look at the figures and be like, okay, I sense the connection now. The question is, what am I supposed to do with this connection?
At which point you'll hear a weird grinding sound as you will look around, and these weren't animate before, and they didn't have spirits in them before. However, now they do. They are both moving. The stone is moving, and they possess a spiritual resonance as the three women look up at you.
I won't lie, my first reaction was weeping angels. Shit!
Please, sir, I would not steal plot lines from Doctor Fucking Who. I have dignity.
I know. Just saying. I've had enough jump scares from that series. Anyways, okay, so they're just looking at me, right? They're not like getting up and drawing flaming swords or anything.
No, but they will start to speak.
Oh dear.
A child will come neath blood-stained moon, an augury taken soon. So it is neath birth and death, so it is neath heath and cleft. You shall see his flaxen hair, see the blood pool in despair. Bring him naught here for he to claim, the sun, the moon, his sin to stain. All in all it shall be done, a king, a champion, the chosen one, when Arthur sits upon his throne at Camelot, neath Caerleon's zone.
I'll probably want a transcription of that later because, yeah. But he's just going to kind of look. Are they back to their former positions, or are they still moving around, etc.?
They will say that in perfect unison, then the eyes will close and the heads will bow.
He's just going to look over at the knights and be like, is that new to you?
They are meant to represent the maiden, the mother, and the crone. The three fates, the weavers of destiny. But they've never spoken before.
I take it this is like probably the first interesting thing these guys have witnessed other than me and I'm not really interesting in the last who knows how long. So this probably has caused some activity.
Yeah, they're all kind of, not activity, as a matter of fact, the lack of activity. They're all kind of dumbstruck.
Now, again, I only got part of that. I didn't have WordPad open to start transcribing what you said, but I believe there was a portion about bring him not.
I'll give you a rough synopsis.
Gotcha.
I'll write it up for you. It said that under a bloody moon you will find the child of prophecy. That you shall see that you shall see him bleed the ground red. That he will have flaxen hair, many trials and tribulations, until he will stand here to pick up to claim the sword. Camelot and at Camelot he shall be enthroned. And then they said something about Kerman Sul, which you've got no idea what that means.
He's going to ask them and say, "Do you know what that Karaman Sul? Does that ring a bell for any of you?"
They'll all shake their heads. None of them seem to have any idea what it means.
How do you spell that, by the way? If you have a spelling for it.
I will send you a spelling of it.
Okay, cool. Anyways. Oh God, I just picked up on that. When they made that prophecy and they were looking at me, they did use the direct personal pronoun you, right?
Yes, they did.
Fuck! He's going to say that in character, but not at that volume. Just be like, oh, like he's not upset at this so much as he's like, my life just went from a complication of 7 to maybe an 11. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay. All right then. So I'll keep my eyes open for that. Hopefully that's a good ways in my future. You know, maybe decades, who knows? Okay, so I've got a connection to this sword. I've heard the prophecy. I've got my marching orders. He just kind of looks at them like, I guarantee if I leave here, I'm going to think of things to ask you guys later. And I don't know how much of them I'd be allowed to ask, but do you think I'll be able to return here if I leave here?
Galahad will sigh, and he will say, Sir Weiss, would you like me to accompany you?
Oh dear. Sure. If you're willing.
He will hold out his hand, and he will say, take it.
He'll take his hand. Very nervous. Like Finley's not the bravest guy on the block, so there is like palpable trepidation here, but he'll do it.
Okay. You'll grab his hand, which will be solid, and you will kind of have to give it a little bit of a tug, as you basically from the wall you essentially pull a physical flesh and blood entity that is no longer just a disembodied spirit.
He's going to. I'm already looking at him with time, entropy, and I'm going to dismiss time and entropy. Real quickly, toss up. I already know he's got a mind signature. Life. Yeah, I'm going to toss up that life site again because that probably faded by now. I think, right? Or is it still? Yeah, I dismissed it.
It's still on.
Okay. Okay, then I'll just go with that. He's in a living body.
Yep.
He's just going to look at him and be like, welcome back to the land of the living?
He will say, we stand vigil. That doesn't necessarily mean that we cannot defend the sword if it would ever prove to be necessary.
Oh dear. Yeah, good point. I mean, I don't think I can imagine a thing that could actually get past that enchantment up there, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. I should probably
as he stepped out of the picture. Sorry, I just want to point out, as he stepped out of the picture, you'll notice that the stained glass image of him is also gone. The picture is now just a normal white pane of glass, clear pane of glass.
Interesting hypothetical. The picture in the back of the room. So that would argue that the warden never was attached to that picture then, because if he was and he stepped out, then it would be blank.
Beg-
I'm saying the picture in the back that has Arthur and what I'm assuming is Merlin. Merlin's probably never attached himself to these in that way. Otherwise, if he had stepped out of the picture, there would be no representation of Merlin on that stained glass window.
He was that is an apt assumption.
Okay. Is there, now this is me stretching a bit, but is there any space on the other side of Arthur that is blank? Like where there could be another figure?
Yes.
He's going to look at Galahad and just point at the absence and be like, who's supposed to be standing there? If you're allowed to tell me that one.
He'll look up and he'll blink and he'll say, well,
Did you not notice?
He'll contemplate for a moment and he'll say, well, I'm trying to think how best to explain. He'll kind of look over at the night. He'll kind of sideways glance the knight who has the moon as his heraldry, and his eyes will narrow ever so slightly.
And that's not the sinister one.
No. The sinister one has the snake wrapped around a sword as his heraldry.
That's Mordred. Okay. Kind of funny that he's here, given how things ended with him, but I guess he's tied to the sword.
Mm-hmm. Also, you're assuming that the story is the same way the story has been portrayed.
Very true. Very true. That because that may be a complete botch of the story. Okay, and the full moon is the really handsome one, right?
Yes.
He's going to look at him and be like, "That wouldn't be Lancelot, would it?"
That is indeed my father. Yes.
Okay, that's definitely not from the stories. I hope you'll forgive me. I don't mean to make any assumptions.
Galahad the Pure was always Lancelot's kid.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know that. Okay. My education is lacking. It's showing.
So I will give you 3 guesses who is currently absent.
Well, there's trying to think of people I know from the legends. Guinevere?
There was a nod.
Okay, so she's up and about. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, then. So, you said you wanted to accompany me. Are we going to talk to the warden, or are we just taking a walk? Or are you able to actually leave this realm?
Oh, I can leave. As I said, we've stayed out of choice, not out of compulsion.
Interesting. Well, if you're planning on making a lengthier excursion, you're always welcome to stay with me or wherever you'd like. The world's changed probably quite a bit since you guys were out there. I'm not sure how much you guys keep aware of things. Yeah, that's if you're going out there, it's a dangerous world out there. But I'm sure the warden can say more about it, even though he doesn't go out there either, from what I understand.
He can't.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was a choice matter in his case.
He'll point at the sword.
Oh, but you guys are able to.
Yes, but we're not.
That's right. But yes, sorry, because he can't leave it. Correct. Yes. Sorry. Again, he is dense.
Galahad will, he, clearly not knowing his own strength, he'll slap you on the back. Hashtag strength 5.
Hashtag strength 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Finley is a twig. I'm on the floor now.
Oh. Are you all right, so wise?
Yes. He gets back up. Sorry. A strong hand there. So, All right. I think we should probably find the warden. He'd probably appreciate knowing if you're going to head out. I mean, of course, trying to find him is how I got here. Do you know an easier way to get a hold of him?
There is a shrug.
Okay, then. So we'll just walk out of the chapel. You'll wave goodbye to the knights. Be like, I really got to come back here and learn some of their names. Or just start doing some research. He'll look around. Is the warden outside, or are we not that lucky?
You are, in fact, not that lucky.
Crap. Well, I might be able to find him, or get his attention, actually. There's a pool of water around here.
I will point out, you will spend the next number of hours looking for him, and will be strangely unable to find him.
I actually wasn't going to physically look for him. I was going to try using magic.
Yes, but my point is, even if you start pinging magic, he will not be found.
Correspondence site, nothing. Can't locate him.
Nope.
Yeah, I just searched for the biggest prime signature in this place, but I mean that might be the tree.
Probably would be the tree.
All right then. I'm guessing the warden doesn't want to be found right now. I'll assume they just look for like an hour and or try some basic magic. And he just
Galahad will shrug and he will say, anything is inherently possible.
Well, I can at least get us back to the entrance, I hope.
It's that way. He'll say, casually pointing.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go. And he'll lead him out that way.
He will look up and he'll say, what time should it be in the waking world?
Shit, what time would it be? Afternoon, early evening?
It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mid-afternoon, late afternoon.
Excellent. I still have I can still acquire something to eat. I assume that venison is still available.
Oh, no. Not in the sense that you're thinking. Look, you seem like a nice guy. I hate to tell you this, but the world's really different. The I don't know what the entrance to this place used to look like, or if it was in a forest, perhaps.
It was a large tree in the center of a forest.
There's not much forest left. There's a small park.
Oh, I see.
People have kind of expanded. There's a lot less open forest and field and more roads, houses, buildings, and towering buildings that are bigger than the castles you'd be familiar with, made out of glass and steel and other things. But like I said, this is going to be a very jarring experience.
But if one does not hunt, then how does one eat?
Well, there are farmers who have quite a bit of... they produce quite a lot of animals for slaughter, and they preserve that meat through what you would frankly consider magic, and though it's not, and they ship it around to various parts of the world. Same with vegetables that they grow and other things like that. Look, you're one of the Knights of the Round Table, unless that term means nothing. You'll adapt quickly, but I think it would be a good idea if you think of it this way. Don't think of it as returning home. Think of it as entering a completely different world. Take nothing for granted. Do not assume anything is the way you remember it. If you still want to go, I'm willing to help you. But it's going to be different. It's not the place you left. Centuries have passed, if not millennia, because my history is horrible. I'm assuming King Arthur's Legend, that was back in like early AD, so 1500 years is probably a solid estimate.
No, King Arthur's Legend's about the year 1200, so it's about 800 years.
Okay, so yeah, not quite a millennia. That said, yes, we're I can watch out for you on that side. I'm quite a bit more at home there than I am here.
One understands. We shall place our trust in you, Sir Bryce.
He's still connected to all the others, isn't he?
Yes.
So would it be a safe assumption that he can still communicate with them, or they can view what he's viewing?
If they wish to, yes.
Interesting. Okay, he'll following his guide's direction to get back to the entrance rather than botch my next survival roll and lead us into a bear den.
All right, we're going to call the scene here, as I've got one or two things I need to do. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, if you have any in the future for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin.